Welcome to Beautifully Imbalanced. I'm your host, DaShay Carter. Today we'll be talking about, we are in the grieving series, and we are talking about grieving your old self. Before we dive in, oh my goodness, I just realized it's okay. Um, before we dive in, before we dive in, I want to encourage you to check out my clothing brand. It is a unisex self-love clothing brand, centered around self-love. I said that already, but it's affirmations and phrases that have helped me through my self journey. So all of the collections are very personal to me and have helped me get to where I am today. So let's dive into the grieving. Before we go there, make sure that you like, subscribe, and hit that little bell so you can be notified every time I post a new video. So releasing the old self. Let's think about our old self. What are some characteristics of your old self? Go ahead and put some in the comments. For me, it was people pleasing, attention seeking, shrinking was the biggest. I was paying for love by giving up pieces of myself. And let me tell you, honey, it wasn't even real love. It was like admiration, maybe, you know. And let me see. Those are the characteristics that come to mind. Those were the biggest ones. People pleasing, shrinking, and attention seeking. And those are different things that helped me survive. Those were coping skills that helped me in the past. And let's talk a little bit about that, right? So people pleasing, I was a person who felt like my life didn't matter because of my childhood trauma. I felt like I was here to please other people. And I felt like in order to get the attention that I needed from my guardians, my parents, whatever you want to call them, in order to get what I needed from them, I needed to behave a certain way. And so that's where the people pleasing kicked in, right? And doing all of those things made me feel like I had some sort of purpose, because without a purpose, what are we doing? Why are we going on? What are we doing? Why are we alive? And I felt like I needed that, because without that, I probably would have taken my life, because I felt miserable. I felt unwanted and unworthy, and all the things, if you've seen any of my previous videos, you know about my childhood trauma and the different, the ins and outs. I talk about it pretty heavily in my other videos. So there was that. Then on top of that, so that was on the one hand. On the other hand, the shrinking, I felt like I had to, that shrinking is a part of people pleasing, right? So you're shrinking parts of yourself so that you can be seen in the way that these people want to see you, so you can be accepted by them, so that you can gain some love. But that's not love. If they cannot love you for who you are right here, if they can't love you and accept you for who you are, it's not love, right? They're loving a version of yourself that you're presenting to them. And so that was something that I did. If I admired someone, I had already grown attached to them and I wanted them in my life, then I would begin to shrink the parts of me that I seen that they didn't like, or the parts of me that other people collectively didn't like. Like, the biggest thing that was collectively not liked about me was how loud I am, because I can be loud. And it's also something that's connected to being ghetto, or being the angry Black woman. And so it was something that people didn't like about me, including Black people. But it was also something that was a stereotype. So it was something about myself that I couldn't always control either. Like sometimes if I would get excited about something, I would get loud and my voice would get higher and I wouldn't even realize it. But when I could control it, I would, you know. And then I had friends that they were loud, but when I was loud, it was a problem. So I would not be loud even though they could be loud, like, you know. So it was just stuff like that, you know. But over the years you start shrinking more and more parts of yourself because you get in the habit of doing that. I did it my whole adult life. And so when those relationships ended, because they did, because I wasn't who I am. And so when I started to heal and becoming who I am and loving who I am, I had to let go of those relationships. And that's another part of letting go of the old self, because you're not who these people want you to be, and so they can't accept you, so you can't thrive in that relationship anymore. And so I had to let go of them and me. The me I was being, um the old me, you know what I mean? Because that is an old you it's not, you weren't being your complete self, and that's an old habit that you have to release, right? And so think about some of the characteristics, think about some of the traits of your old self and why you started doing them. It's important to know the why, because that helps you to connect it to the how can I get out of this, how can I heal, how can I accept this so I can move forward, how did that benefit me in the future, and why isn't it going to benefit me now, right? So right now, being a people pleaser, shrinking myself, that doesn't benefit me now, because I want authentic love. I want me to love myself authentically. I want others to love me authentically. I want my clothing brand, my therapy, you know, my modeling. I want all of that to be amplified as me being true to myself and inspiring other people to be true to themselves. I cannot do that if I'm shrinking. I cannot do that if I'm people pleasing. I cannot do that if I'm kissing someone else's ass. I can't, right? Um, so those are traits that I have a habit of doing that I have to let go. I have to accept that they may have benefited me then. They may have been a form of survival then. They made me feel like I have purpose, but now I have a purpose, right? My voice is my purpose. My platform is my purpose. What I'm doing in my modeling career is my purpose. I'm showing up as my raw, authentic self. And it is benefiting not just me, but the other people seeing it, the other real women out there, right? The other real bodies out there that are seeing it, the other people out there that have been through traumatic experiences, that are hearing my story and how I've overcame it and how I am where I am today and how I love myself, right? So that's my purpose. So I don't need the people pleasing anymore. I don't need to find some sort of way to feel like I have a purpose in life so that I won't kill myself, right? And that sounds crazy and sounds harsh, but that's how I do it here. I keep it as raw as possible, right? When you go through certain traumatic experiences, you feel so small that you think your trauma convinces you that no one would care if you died. And the pain becomes so unbearable that you feel like you'd be better off. And it's sad and it hurts. But if this is a way you are feeling right now, I encourage you to keep going, because, honey, there is more to life than those people that you are trying to please, even if they are your parents. And I know it sucks. The people that hurt me were three people that society teaches us are supposed to protect us, supposed to love you automatically just for who you are. You're both of my parents and my older brother. Your older brother is supposed to be your protector, right? Your parents are supposed to be your protector. They created you. You are their DNA. And I had to fight through that. I had to fight through that to find my purpose. And so like I said, I people pleased. I people pleased with my mom. I people pleased at church because that made me feel like I had a purpose. They saw something in me that I didn't see in myself, and so I people pleased so that I can get that, feel that connection, feel that love that I wasn't feeling at home. And so it carried, I shrunk, like I said, I shrunk parts of myself so that I would be accepted. I did that at home. I did that at church. I am a goofy person, okay? I'm goofy. I tell jokes. I like to laugh at corny ass jokes because I'm also very cheesy. And at our age, I'm in high school, but still, some of the leaders felt like because we are ministers, because it is our job, we are a vessel for God to use, we were taught that we should be behaving more mature. And laughing at corny jokes and goofing around was immature. So I shrunk that part of myself. It was a lot. And like I said, at that time, I needed that. It sucks, but I needed that, right? Because I needed to feel connected to them. I needed to feel like I had a purpose. I needed to feel like I had to keep going, like I was connected to something bigger than myself, like I was making an impact in the world. I needed to feel that so that I can keep going, so that I can live, so that I can be where I am today. Like I said, it sucks. The storms of life suck, but there's always a purpose. There's always a greater purpose. And so I encourage you to push through, keep going, push through, because this is just a chapter in your life. I don't even remember all the ins and outs. I don't even remember all the stuff that I was stressing about and all the things back then, because I'm here now and I'm able to love myself just for who I am. Flaws and all, honey. The healed side and the unhealed side, And I'm able to teach my kids to love and accept themselves the way I wasn't taught. I'm able to allow them to be their raw selves with me the way I wasn't. I didn't have that. And so I'm able to give back what I wasn't given. And it's a beautiful thing. And now I'm able to do that on a platform so then I can help other people. Because like I said, it was a sucky feeling. And I had to be a person that wasn't me just to survive. And I know that there's parts of your old self that you needed back then to survive. But honey, you're not there anymore. You're not. And if you are, you can make your way out. I believe in you. And I know that you can because you're still here. So it's accepting why you had to be that person, why you had to be your old self, and why it doesn't work today. Why is that not going to benefit you today? Why is that not going to serve you today? And I'm not saying that I've arrived, because honey, I still have to deal with this. I have learned when to, because I'm a nurturing person and I'm a caring and observant person, I'm able to see what a person needs. And I have to decide, is this going to put their needs above mine? And sometimes, because I have a people pleasing habit, because I people please my whole adult life, I didn't start healing from all of this stuff till about 4 years ago when I started my self-love journey. So when sometimes I move without having that conversation with myself. Is this need that I'm providing for this person going to put their needs above my own? And it's not a selfish thing. The thing is, if I am cold, say I'm cold, say, let's just use this as an example, a materialistic thing. I'm cold and I have a low immune system. I'm prone to get sick pretty easily. And I have a friend and she's cold and she doesn't have a sweater. But I take my sweater off and I give my sweater to her, knowing damn well that most likely by the end of the day, I'm going to be having a cold. I'm going to be sick. Or however illness works, because I keep being told that that's not how you get a cold. But either way it goes, if I take away something that I need to give to someone else, I'm putting their need above my own. There's being kind and generous, and there's neglecting yourself, right? So really get to the root of why you have to let go of that old characteristic, why it benefited you in the past, and why it's not going to benefit you now. And yes, it takes looking in the mirror. Yes, it's hard. Start with one trait at a time. And you'll see that it's kind of all connected. So if you start with one, it'll, like I said, the people pleasing is connected to the shrinking, because I shrunk myself to please others. I shrunk myself to feel love and connected to other people, right? Attention seeking is similar. I sought attention because I wasn't getting the attention that I needed. I was neglected. And so I did different things to seek attention. I did different things to have those one-on-one conversations because I just remembered a time where I wore something that was considered provocative at church because I wanted to be a little rebel, but it got me a one-on-one conversation. I don't get one-on-one conversations. I'm a child of, at that time there was 5 of us in that household, I believe. There was five girls in the household. I didn't get one-on-one conversations with my mom. In church, there was a big group of us in that ministry. I didn't get one-on-one times with them. So I feel like I did little things to act out. It's just like when kids, they want attention, whether it's positive or negative. They want attention. They want a connection. They want time. They want your time. And so I would do little stuff to get that time because I didn't have it. But I don't have to do that anymore. I don't. And so it's just like, really connect with yourself. And don't, how do I say this? It's not, don't be so hard on yourself. But yeah, like when I first started my journey, my healing journey, my self-love journey, I I felt like healing was the key to being loved. Healing was the key to having a healthy relationship. And I guess if you think about it, it was, but I was thinking about a relationship with someone outside of myself. I was thinking about having like either rebuilding the marriage that I was leaving, or having a healthy relationship in the future, having that relationship that we see, with, the American dream or whatever you want to call it, and I was convinced that once I was completely healed, I would be deserving of that kind of love. And I'm deserving right now, So don't over stress it. Don't overthink it. Don't put too much weight on it. And don't do it for those reasons. Do it for you. Do it for loving you. Look in the mirror for loving you, for building that relationship with you, for connecting with you, for connecting with your core. And it unlocks so much. And sometimes it's a flood and you have to take a break. And that is a part of self-love too. That's part of the journey. I've had to take breaks from healing. It's just like with working out. Rest day is necessary. It's the same with healing. Rest day is necessary. And so it's important, y'all. I just keep whipping this because it's very uncomfortable for me. I need to take it down. Anyways, so it's necessary to take those breaks and to not be so hard on yourself. Just like in the gym, you don't want to use a weight that you can't do. If it's too heavy, and you gonna end up hurting yourself. It's the same with healing. Don't overdo it. Like I'm telling you, I did this. I went on a spiral. I was reading the attachment style book, and it was telling me so much. The flood of knowledge that I had learned about myself because of my attachment style was overwhelming. And I actually had to take a year break from that book. I'm reading it now, but when I first read it, there was so much knowledge, and because they give you homework assignments too. So I had started the homework assignment, and so I was overwhelmed. I took all this to my therapist, and she was like, you're spiraling. I was spiraling, but I didn't realize it in that moment. Until later on, I talked to Char. Her number and stuff is in the description. I talked to Char, and she told me there is absolutely nothing wrong with you. Stop trying to fix yourself. And this woman at this time, she did not know me. And I realized that I really was trying to fix myself. And I had to ask myself, why are you trying to fix yourself? What are you working for? That's something that I tell the kids in behavior therapy. What are you working for? What are we doing today? What are we working for? And I was working for love. I was working for acceptance. And I wasn't even loving and accepting myself, you know? So I had to accept those old parts of myself, the healed and the unhealed. I had to accept them and realize that I'm not her anymore. I'm not. And I don't even surround myself with people that I feel like I have to please, the people I have to prove my worth to anymore. And when I find that a relationship gets to that point, then I let them go. Or I'll communicate with them about it. And then sometimes, like I said, sometimes it's me. Sometimes I'll have a moment where of insecurity and I'm like, oh shoot, I gotta prove myself to this person so they'll keep me around. Sometimes it is a me thing and sometimes it's them. And that's why it's important to have the conversation. Um, but it's having that conversation, having that relationship with yourself, connecting with yourself and connecting with, that's annoying. Okay. With why. So how do we let go? How do we move on? One is acceptance of off tops. Accepting um, that old part of you and accepting why you no longer need that part of you. The other thing I would encourage you to do is to write a letter. You can write a goodbye letter. You can journal one about why, like your why you needed that part of you, why you needed that characteristic in your past. That is going to get a lot. If you don't want to, if it's easier for you to have that conversation with yourself through journaling, I would encourage that, um and that is a big thing. But I would write a letter to your old self, releasing her. And the thing is, it's not, to me, I feel like you're building on her. It's not so much of you didn't need her, because you needed her. I needed her to survive. And I'm saying her, but this applies to men, of course, as well. I needed her to keep me alive. I needed her because at school, I was get goofy, telling jokes, joking around overly. I did it overly because it helped me. My personality helped me survive. At church, I people pleased in a different way to help me feel like I had a family and make me feel like I had something bigger than myself. You know, I was, like I said, I was a vessel for God. So, um, those were the reasons why I needed that. And it helped me, a lot of the skills and stuff that I learned from connecting with all those people, it helped me to where I am today. But I don't need those characteristics right now. And when I so it's just saying your goodbye. It's just like when you end certain relationships that are a mutual ending, and then you, once you leave that relationship, you build on what you learned from that relationship and you grow. It's the same thing as ending the relationship with your old self. So that is how you grieve your old self. That's how I would do it. I encourage you to don't end your research here with me. That did not feel good. That sound did not feel good. I encourage you to, like I said, do what you need to do to build on that, to build on what I have, my story, and what I have taught you here today, and do what you need to do for you to release that old self and fully accept the new self that you are becoming and growing into. Um, so, um, ah, that sound is throwing me off, you guys. Okay, so I do talk more about these kind of things and I do challenges. Here is where I share my story, and you can take whatever you can from it and apply it to your self-love journey. And Patreon is where we do the work. I set up monthly challenges. I put resources in there. I'm going to start a book club in there. Um, and it's more beneficial, more well-rounded, for you to do the work. That is where we do the work. is in the Patreon account. The Beautifully Imbalanced Community is where we do the work. And the clothing brand is the affirmations, the statements that you can wear to help push you through. So go ahead and check out the Patreon account. The links are in, the link is in the description, as well as the clothing brand website and Char's information. I'm telling you, Char is a good person to talk to. If you don't want to talk to me, okay, honey. So remember that you are worthy always. You are worthy of letting go. You are worthy of the strength that comes from letting go, the growth that comes from letting go. You are worthy of healing. You are worthy of self-acceptance, self-love, self-trust, self-development. You are worthy of it all. Okay? Keep going. I believe in you.